How's it going, guys? It's Double Rim here, and I know it's been about a week since I last posted, and that's just because partially laziness, partially I have a lot of homework, and partially I was trying to go to bed earlier, and some of the games I watch, would get done at like 11:30, and then I'd be going to bed. But I mean, you can't see what time it is right now, but it is currently 1:30 Mountain Time, so I was like, well, fuck it, I'm already up, might as well. Make a YouTube video. Anyways, and I might as well catch up on what's happened. So this is going to be more like a week in review. So I'm going to try to speed through it. So the last day I uploaded a video was the Bucks versus Sixers, Jazz versus Clippers games. And since then I've watched quite a few games. So I watched the Suns Warriors game. I watched some of the Heat Celtics game that day as well. Don't really remember too much about it though, to be honest. But then the next day, I watched the Bucks Nets game. That's three. We'll say two. We're not going to talk about that Celtics Heat game. Like I said, I don't really remember much. I only watched like the end of the game. And then on April 1st, I watched the no, I didn't watch any games on April 1st. Okay, cool. All right, April 2nd, I watched the Jazz Warriors game. And then April 3rd, I watched the Warriors Kings game. So, yeah, a lot of Warriors games. That's my bad. I'm not going to talk about all of them super in depth. The first game we're going to talk about here is the Bucks Nets game. And it was kind of funny. So, the Sixers Bucks game that happened where Giannis had the game-saving block at the end there was an amazing game. And Giannis had like 40-something points, but he follows it up in the Bucks Nets game with a very similar performance. Kyrie, KD are hitting shots. They're really selling out to double KD actually in that game now that I'm thinking about it, but he still obviously got his points. But he was really distributing for a lot of the game. And, looking at the box score just to, jog my memory, Giannis had 44 points. Kevin Durant had 26. Kyrie Irving had 25. Anyways, that's not important. I don't usually like to talk about box score stats like that. That's just not how. I don't think it's informative for me to talk about that stuff because y'all are NBA fans and y'all probably check box scores. But so, looking at the game, it was a pretty close game for most of it, and then halfway through the fourth quarter, right, the Nets take a little lead. I think they led by about like 10 points or so with like 5 minutes left, right? And at this point, it was looking bad for the Bucks. Um, and then literally, and Chris Middleton had fouled out of the game, and he's usually one who's closing for him. So Giannis took it upon himself, and he was just barreling to the paint, getting to the line, getting dunks, and that he was doing that all game. But he usually doesn't do it in the fourth quarter in late game situations, and isn't able to do it because the refs and whistles aren't as kind. But there was some super blatant. For example, he had in overtime, I'm pretty sure he had a drive that KD and Nick Claxton both were guarding him, and Giannis goes up, Nick Claxton completely like slaps his arms down, right? And people online were complaining about how, oh, that's not a foul. It's like that is the most blatant foul possible. But anyway, so yeah, he was just too physical, too dominant to stop. But the craziest part is, so it was 107 to 110. Milwaukee had kind of stormed back. I think Drew hit a big three or two. He's been lights out from three. Giannis was just getting to the rim, getting to the free throw line. And then 107 to 110, right? The man who's guarding Giannis, I think it was probably Drummond, is in the paint. Giannis is at the three-point line, completely wide open, gets the ball passed to him, takes the three, misses. So, and there's like, I don't remember, there's probably like 20 seconds left, under a minute left, right? And you're like, okay, this is pretty much game. There's only about one possession left. This is pretty much a game here. And then on the offensive end, KD calls for like a pick and roll, or Bruce Brown comes to like set a screen on Giannis, but Instead, Bruce Brown literally puts both his hands on Giannis's like uh, butt area, right? He puts it like around his butt and pushes instead of setting a screen, pushing him into KD. KD gets tripped. There's a foul. KD's all whining about it. A lot of players do. I don't have, but KD was annoyed. He was visibly annoyed at the foul calls that Giannis was getting in the late game situation. And then that also annoyed him. But then when you look at the replay, it was undeniably a foul. So it was an offensive foul on Bruce Brown. Bucks get the ball back. Now Giannis has the ball with Drummond on him with like four seconds left or whatever. Hits a step back three, a James Harden step back where he does the little 3-step, the gather 2-step thing. Now, I haven't seen anyone else talk about this, and I personally watched the highlight. Maybe if I ever get more determined and more motivated to make videos, I would have edited in the clip right here, but I ain't doing no editing. This is just me talking into a camera just to see how I like it. And it's pretty fun, I'm not going to lie. But anyways, he he does the James Harden step back, and I watched it like 5, 10, 20 times the day after this game, and I was trying to count because, the gather, right, is when you like dribble the ball, right, and then all right, let's just pretend this is the ball, right? You dribble the ball, and then you grab it, and that's when the gather's over. So, like, if I'm dribbling, dribble, step, gather. And that's 2 steps that don't count, and then I can take 2 more. So that's 4 steps total. It looked like Giannis had the ball, did the little hop back, and then moved his foot one more time. Like, he changed his pivot foot, because how you're supposed to do the triple step is you're supposed to hop off your right foot and then right foot down, left foot last. So you're supposed to do 2 hops with your right foot, depending on what side, but 2 hops with one foot and then 1 hop with the back. Not very good at describing this, but anyways, I watched it a bunch. It kind of looked like he traveled, but no one else said anything. And anyways, it was a clean shot. Giannis hit a step back 3 to send it into overtime. And then in overtime, it was kind of crazy too. The Bucks came out. I think they were up like 5 to 10 points, right? And then Brooklyn actually starts to, I think it was only like about 5, but overtime shows short. It's kind of a lot. But then Brooklyn starts to come back, and Giannis chips 2 free throws. Drew went like 1 for 2 at the line as well, or maybe 0 for 2 now that I think about it. Anyways, Drew was missing some, which is pretty uncharacteristic. Giannis missed some, and he'd been making them all night. I think he was like 15 of 17 on the game, or 15 of 18 or something like that. So it was pretty rare to see him miss that night. And then KD gets fouled on a 3-point shot and puts them up 1. So they're down 3. The Bucks are missing a bunch of free throws. The Nets score a 2, and then I'm sorry guys, I don't remember the exact situation, but anyways, Kevin Durant is at the line, gets fouled on a 3 to put the Nets up 1, right? Put the Nets up 1. So the Nets are now up 1 in overtime with 1 possession left again, and Giannis just takes it to the hole. That's the foul out, that play I was talking about where Nick Claxton is like grabbing onto his arm, right? And Giannis takes it to the hole, gets fouled, sinks both free throws, and wins the game. And at that point, I was like, he's the MVP. Definitely some recency bias, but it's late in the season. The MVP race is so close. It just takes little games like that. And he had 2 back-to-back games winning block, then overtime sending 3, and then game-winning free throws in back-to-back games, right? So that was just pretty impressive. Then they lose to the Mavericks, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, and then it was just kind of like, okay, maybe he's not, because now the standings are just so bunched up. If Milwaukee is able to win their next, how many games left? 4 left for them? Yeah, they have 4 left. If they win their next 4 games, and they have a game against the Celtics, so that'll be a big game. If they win their next 4 games, mark my words, Giannis will win MVP. But if they don't, it'll be Jokic. I don't think Joel can do it. I just think he's too behind at this point. Also, I don't know who I'd vote for. It's so tough, the MVP. Personally, I'm kind of the ilk of looking at history to determine this kind of stuff, and I would tend to, um, if I had a choice to vote, and this is actually very controversial, and I would say that because the season's so weird, I can definitely see the argument for not having this sort of voting, but Phoenix has the best record. Book has solid averages, and even though Book isn't a top 12 player, I just feel like historically it's got to go to Booker. But I don't know. Yeah, the other three guys are having so much more impressive individual seasons, and I guess that's more what the MVP is about. Also, like I was saying, the year has been so weird. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. Who cares about the MVP? I don't know who I'd vote for. That's all I'm saying. It's tough. I mostly have been thinking Jokic. I thought Giannis just the other day. Now I'm starting to maybe think about it in a more historical perspective. But anyways, regardless, after those games, I thought Giannis was the MVP, the Sixers game and the Nets game. Then they lose to the Mavericks, so it's kind of thrown off a little bit. Anyways, the next game I watched, which was big, was the Suns Warriors. This was an awesome game because I am a Blazer fan first, okay? Because I'm from Portland, Oregon. I'm a Blazer fan first, but you always got to have multiple teams you root for because it's not fun to root for a team that's not that great. So, and I've always liked Curry since like 2014. I got him on my fantasy team. It was my first year playing fantasy, and I got him on my team. I traded for him like early in the season for like I can't remember who. I traded like Rudy Gay or something for him, and it was right before he kind of started exploding for his MVP campaign. That first one he won, and then I just was like bandwagon since. And then the team won the championship that year, and I've been a fan, big fan ever since. Even though they always beat the Blazers, it sucks. But I like watching. They're the most entertaining. He's the most entertaining player to watch in the modern NBA, and that team is the most entertaining. And they have a good culture, and it's fun to root for smart, good teams. Right? It's not fun to root for the Sacramento Kings, for example, because they always suck. But anyways, so yeah, Suns Warriors game. Really close game. They were battling it out. And when you watch it, you kind of think, okay, the Warriors have a really, really good shot at beating the Suns because they're both such cerebral teams, and the Warriors are just more championship hardened and also have a history of beating Chris Paul teams and kind of know how he works. So I would say the Warriors' toughest matchups in the entire playoffs would be the Grizzlies in the West, and that's pretty common thought, but the Grizzlies in the West and then the Celtics in the East, right? And the reason is because the Grizzlies, for example, are so athletic, so young, so fast, and the Warriors are kind of getting up there in age. And the Warriors like to run a lot, right? It's a big part of their offense is pushing the pace, and it's like, okay, the Grizzlies are going to be super hyped to have the pace pushed. So I don't know if that's going to be the best matchup, and they're just physically dominating on the rebounds, going to wear down Draymond, going to wear down Looney, and that's really their only front court. Like, I guess Otto Porter Jr. is pretty big too, but still, they're just going to get worn down by the physicality of Memphis. But anyways, in this game against the Suns, it was super encouraging for a Suns-Warriors matchup because, Poole was looking like Curry, and they were playing a great game. Then in the last, 5 minutes, Warriors kind of choked. Suns pulled away. Draymond had a blunder. Poole kind of had a mini blunder. So Poole took like a half-court shot because he thought he was going to get fouled, but ended up not getting fouled, and they lost the game. And the Suns weren't even super clutch. It was more the Warriors. And this is the thing about watching. I've watched a lot of Warriors basketball, especially over the last 2 years when I've really started watching a lot of NBA games. Really made it a major hobby of mine. The Warriors are they are a team that pretty much only beats themselves. And, that's a good and a bad thing. Because, for example, the Suns never beat themselves, but you can outplay them because they're not a super high level explosive team, right? They're just going to consistently knock down shots, play good defense, and run smart plays. But the Warriors for example, are a really explosive team. So oftentimes, I'll be watching a quarter. They'll have 15 points with 2 minutes left in the quarter, 15 points for the quarter, and then Curry will start hitting shots or whatever, and they'll score 15 in the last 2 minutes. And it's that kind of thing. And then they score 30 points in a quarter. But it doesn't really tell the same story as like a Phoenix Suns, who when they score 30, it's because they score a well-balanced amount of points every minute. But that's the thing. The Warriors also have tons of turnovers, and they had way more. They had 21 in the Suns game, and they only lost by 4 points. So if the Warriors can, I mean, this has been a problem for the Warriors for a long time, their turnovers. But if they can if they can have 15, if they can have 10 to 15 turnovers in a game, I guarantee you they'll win that game, because it's pretty interesting that in a lot of these games where they really wake up to play, they'll have 18 turnovers by the end, 18 to 22, right? They'll have tons, and they'll still be in the game, and they'll like win some of these games. And it's like they took 10 less free throws, they took 10 less shots than the other team, but they still win by 7 or whatever. And it's just it's a testament to the efficiency of their like the shots they get. And if they could just make less if they could just turn the ball over less. A lot of their turnovers are super forced, or unforced, I mean. Like, a lot of times it's just Draymond making a dumb pass, Poole, Curry, whoever, making a bad pass, trying to throw it, like, the whole court for, like, an easy bucket, kind of pass. That home run pass. They just always try to make home run passes, and a lot of times it ends up in a turnover. On the Suns side of things, yeah, they've kind of been looking rough for the past few days. They just lost to OKC. I didn't watch that game. I can't claim to know what happened. It's the NBA. Checking the box score, the Suns shot like 25%. So me personally just chalked it up to bad shooting. Looking at the game threads on Reddit, it sounds like some Sun fans were crying about they looked bad in the Warriors game and the Thunder game, and then they lost. They lost another game too. Who was that against? The Grizzlies. They lost the Grizzlies without like all their starters. And I actually did watch some of that game now that I think about it. But yeah, the Suns kind of struggling lately, but not too worried. I mean, they locked up the best record in the league, and they don't really have anything to play for right now except their franchise record, and they're gonna win one in the next few games. Right now they're tied the franchise Phoenix record, so just one more win will break it, and they're definitely going to do that. Chris Paul, I just love watching Chris Paul in the way that I hate his rip through foul baiting, but to be honest, if I was an NBA player, and especially one of Chris Paul's stature, I mean, I'm shorter than Chris Paul, but if I was a small NBA player like Chris Paul, you got to use every advantage you can. And I don't like the rip through. I think the NBA should get rid of it. But while it's still in play, it's kind of hard to argue, like, why not use it? I get pissed. Don't worry, I get pissed watching it, but logically, it's just the right thing to do for him. And he's really the only one who uses it. I mean, Joel and Harden too, but maybe I don't know. I haven't watched enough Trey to know. But yeah, not a lot of guys use it. Anyways, so yeah, Suns. Kind of been rambling on a little bit here, but it's all good. This was kind of the point. Get some thoughts out about the NBA. So yeah, then the Suns Grizzlies game, actually I did watch that, and this Grizzlies team is so weird. Even though I was watching the game, I'm going to be honest, I didn't really know what was happening. Like, the Suns were just the Grizzlies were just playing solid defense, but it was mostly the offense that won them the game. And they have so little offensive firepower out on the floor. But John Conchar was like getting to the rim like at will, and it just didn't make any sense. Like, I'm gonna check the box score just to remind myself, like, I remember Conchar was getting to the rim. This rookie was getting to the rim a lot. Who was that guy's name? Dude, Aldama. Okay, what's this dude's name? Santi Aldama, 21-year-old from Loyola, Maryland, right? He had 12 points on 5 for 8 shooting, 0 3-pointers. So this is all inside the paint. This guy they were just getting to the paint at will. Brandon Clark just hitting little hook shot floaters. Dylan Brooks is chucking. He had 30 points on 28 shots. D'Anthony Melton didn't even have a good game, but it was mostly the inside scoring that really killed the Suns here. Inside scoring, offensive rebounding. And you'd think with DeAndre Ayton, the Suns, and JaVale McGee, the Suns could have a little better rebounding, but they were getting killed, man. Xavier Tillman, Brandon Clark, Aldama, Conchar, Kyle Anderson, we're just all grabbing boards like no tomorrow. And yeah, let's check the team stats here. So yeah, the Grizzlies had 16 offensive rebounds to 2 for the Suns. 16. Had 102 shots compared to the Suns' 86. It's going to be tough to win that game. And then they shot 28 free throws to the 17 of the Suns. So yeah, from watching the game, I was confused how the Suns were letting this happen, but the Grizzlies just out-hustled them on the boards and got to the paint at will. And it's going to be interesting to see the Suns team go against the Clippers and the I'm going to be honest, I'm a little skeptical on this Suns team, like a lot of people are, but like if they have to play, yeah, I guess the Clippers, maybe Minnesota. No, they can't really. I don't know. The Phoenix inside game that against the Grizzlies, that game really worried me, but I'm pretty confident they can shore it up. All right, this video is 20 minutes. Fuck it. I'm going to keep talking. And then I watched the Jazz-Warriors game. Was really the next interesting game I watched. And it was so funny because I think I already talked about this in another video, but I'll just say it again. So I bought plane tickets like about a month and a half ago, right? To go to San Francisco to to watch a Warrior playoff game. I haven't bought Warriors playoff tickets yet, but I thought I might as well buy the plane tickets early to save money, right? And I didn't get the insurance because I'm cheap. So I was like, Warriors have the 2 seed. I think at the time they were the 2 seed still, and they were like, probably like 10, 11, 12 games. Nah, maybe not that much. But they were far away from the 5th seed, which is the thing that would actually hurt me because I need them to have home court advantage in order for the dates that I'm in San Francisco to actually work for me to see a game. So this Jazz game had a lot at stake for my personal uh, financial financial situation and my personal desire to watch a Warrior playoff game. Be in Chase Center and watch Curry live because I've seen the Warriors twice, but I've never seen Curry still because he was out for both those games. So, yeah, I I was gonna be so sad if they fell to the 5th seed, which was incredibly possible, especially if they lost this Jazz game here, and they almost did, man. So the Jazz were up like 21 points in the second quarter, but that's not even the craziest part of the game. The Warriors kind of clawed back, and let's look at the old game cast here. Yes, fun note: looking at the box score is not the best way. If you want to know what happened in a game and you didn't watch it, look at the box score, but also look at the game flow on the ESPN app. It shows like the flow of the game, like the score at every minute mark or whatever. So it's super helpful. So let's see here. Yeah, I remember the Jazz were up by 21 in the second quarter. Then the Warriors, by the end of the third, cut it to 6. The bench unit went off. Poole started making some shots. And the bench unit, the bench unit of the Warriors has some players that I've already talked about my Warriors takes, but GP2, I love, man. He's always a positive on the floor. Even though he can't shoot great, he can make some open shots, and he can lock people down, and he gets steals, makes turnovers, makes smart plays, gets easy layups and dunks. He's just such a perfect player. In my eyes, I love this kind of guy. So, yeah, the Warriors cut it to 6 at the end of the third. And I was like, all right, let's go. This win was super important because if Utah won, the Warriors would have lost the tiebreaker, I'm pretty sure. And then they would have had 49. They would have been 48 and 30, while the Jazz would have been 47 and 31. And, I just don't want to risk the Warriors dropping. Now it's pretty much impossible for them to fall to the 5th seed unless some weird stuff happens. But yeah, so I was really nervous, but I was hyped. They made it a 6-point game. I was hyped. And then the Jazz, for the first you know, 4 to 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, make it a 16-point game. 16. Yeah, let's look. 7:54 left in the fourth quarter. Utah is up 103 to 87. 16-point game. And at that point, I'm like, Noah, you could really lose this $200 you spent on plane tickets. And just, I mean, worst case scenario, I would just be hanging out in San Francisco, which, sure, maybe isn't the worst thing ever, but I went there with a specific goal in mind, and Curry ain't getting any younger. So, but anyways, yeah, so 103-87, I was really sad about it. Then Poole, Clay, especially Clay, started hitting some shots, and next thing you know, the Warriors are up with with 2 minutes left, and then they almost choked. I don't remember the exact sequence of plays, but Poole missed a easy shot. Clay took some bad shots. I think they might have turned it over, and the Jazz got to like the free throw line. Mike Conley makes like a layup, and it was like a 1 point game. Jazz ball. Luckily, Donovan Mitchell just chucked one up. Dude, Donovan Mitchell might be one of the most overrated players in the entire NBA. I know this has been a hot topic on Reddit lately, but watching that Warriors game with the Jazz was so funny because Warriors don't have any size, right? Rudy Gobert's like 7 feet, 7'1" maybe, right? He's huge compared to the guys that were on the floor, and he was literally in the paint with like a guy 7 inches shorter than him, and he had like great inside position. I'm talking about like, here's the basket, and like this yellow thing is the basket, right? Let's just say that's the back. Rudy Gobert is like standing right here. He's like at the basket, and there's a shorter player, and it's like, come on, pass him the ball, Donovan Mitchell. But then you just see Donovan wave him off or come set a pick for me, and then he just chuck up some shot. So Jazz choked. Warriors started hitting shots, but also the Warriors almost outchoked the Jazz at the end. There was a few seconds there where I thought, ooh, they just came back and are still about to lose this game. But luckily, they pulled it off. My my plane tickets are safe. The basketball gods are looking out for me, I guess, because I made a stupid decision not to get the insurance. Yeah, those are all the important games. UNC almost beat Kansas. I'm not a huge college basketball fan, but I pay attention a little bit. Warriors beat the Kings too. Not really an eventful game. They won by like 20. It was just kind of the tanking Kings. But yeah, that's pretty much the NBA stuff. Thank you for watching if you watch. That's kind of a review. I know this is a longer video, and I know I said I tried to keep it short, but like I said, man, these aren't necessarily for views, right? These YouTube videos are not necessarily for views. They're kind of just for me to talk about the NBA, get my thoughts out there, and give my 2 cents about it. And I'm not chasing views. I'm not gonna pretend I'm like some, hey, welcome back, guys, kind of guy. I'm just gonna give you my opinions. It's not gonna be super entertaining. Maybe, like I said, maybe once I start to care a little bit more, or if not care a little more, but maybe if I get like 10 subscribers or something, maybe I will start putting a little more effort in. But at this point, there's so much content that's being uploaded on YouTube at every second that probably no one's going to see these videos ever. And I'm okay with that. I know that's a real possibility, and I'm not going to worry about it. Like I said, this is the whole point of this channel is just to kind of talk rants about the NBA, put my thoughts out there. But yeah, thank you for watching Double Rim. I hope you enjoyed my analysis and ramblings. I probably should become a little more concise. I know I've said that like after every video now, but I should become a little more concise or kind of have a structured plan of how I like to talk about this, because I'm a very stream of thought talker, right? Not even about NBA, my whole life. Ever since I can remember. I've always just been say one thing. Before I finish that thought, I jump to another thought. And this is just how I've been my whole life. And I like that part about me, but I also understand that for talking in front of a camera, it can definitely be a little out there, not the most entertaining. But anyways, Double Rim out. Thanks for watching. Hope you're having a good day, good night, and whatever. Also, should I start looking at the camera or looking, because I look at myself when I'm watching a video. I feel like, I don't know. I like looking at myself better than looking at the camera just because I don't know, it just feels weird to look at the camera. Anyways, all right. Peace out. Delver him out. I'll catch you. I'll probably, let's see here. What games are on tomorrow? April 5th is, well, I guess today. What games are on later today? On, so let's see, any good ones? Bucks, Bulls? Yeah, not really much. Grizzlies, Jazz? Yeah, not too much going on. Might not watch any NBA tomorrow. Like I said, I got a lot of homework to do that I've procrastinated really poorly. But anyways, peace out. I'll catch you probably in like 2, 3 days. Bye.